Hello, today we're going to continue working on ordering decimals. Now in this first problem, our goal is to order from least to greatest. We're given 4 decimals here, and our goal is to organize these numbers from least to greatest. So we're first going to start with the digits in my tens place, and I notice that they're all 4s. Since they're all exactly the same, we're going to now move to the digits in my ones place. And I see that I have a 1, 0, 0, and 0. So since 1 is the greatest number here in my ones place, that immediately shows us that 41 is the largest number I have here. So I'm going to write A on this line here. Now I drew these 4 lines to help me organize these numbers from least to greatest and representing and writing the letters that each number represents on each line. So here's going to be the smallest number and here's going to be the greatest number. Now we're going to move to the digits in my tens place. And I notice here that I have a 9, 4, and a 9. So right away, 4 is the smaller number, so therefore 40 and 4/10 is the smallest number we have. But now we need to determine what are going to be my 2 middle numbers. How am I going to organize B and D? So now I'm going to move to the digits in my hundredths place. And I see here that I have a 4, and here there's nothing. And since there's nothing in my hundredths place, I can also write a 0 to represent that there's nothing in my hundredths place to help me when comparing these two values. So now if I'm looking here, I have 4 and I have 0. So 0 is the smaller number and the smaller value. So therefore 40 and 9/10 is smaller than 40 and 94/100. So I'm going to put D first and then I'm going to put B. So if I was organizing these from least to greatest, I would choose the answer choice that has C, D, B, and A. Now it's always important to double check your work just to confirm that you did organize everything from least to greatest and you were following the exact directions that were given to you. Now looking at the next problem, it says order from greatest to least. So again, we have 4 numbers, and I actually drew 4 lines here as well, just to place my letters to help me organize them from greatest to least. So again, I'm going to look at the digits in my ones place to the left of my decimal point. So I see that here they are all 7. So I'm going to now move to the digits in my tenths place. And I want from greatest to least. So I see 3, 6, 5, and 6. So right away I see that 3 is the smallest number. So 7 and 3/10 has to be the smallest number. And then the next smallest was 7 and 59/100 because my digit in my tens place was a 5. So C is going to come next. But now for my first 2 numbers, I have to decide, is it going to be B or D as my largest number? So now I'm going to take a look here. Again, I have a 7 in my ones place for both these numbers. Then I move to the tens place. I have a 6 and a 6 here. Now I'm going to move to my hundredths. And I see that I have 7, and here I put a 0 because there really is nothing in my hundredths, but it helps me when comparing my numbers that they all have the same amount of digits in the numbers. So now I have 7 and 67/100 and 7 and 60/100. Now the digit in my hundredths place here is a 7, which is much larger than the digit here in my hundredths place, which is a 0. Therefore, B is the largest number, and then D. Now again, it's always important to go back and read over the directions and make sure you're answering this the right way. I'm looking back and I see that, wow, I did compare them from greatest to least. And it's very important through today's activities that you're going back and checking your work before submitting anything. Now looking here, it says which number sentence is true. Notice they gave you 4 number sentences and you need to go through each one. See if they're right. Whichever one is correct is going to be your answer choice. So here we have 79/100 is greater than 97/100. And just like we were doing before, we're going to work from left to right. So I see here in my ones place we have a 0 and a 0. So I'm going to move to my tenths. I have a 7 and a 9. 7 is less than 9, but here it's saying greater. So this really, when we're comparing these two numbers, it should be less than, but here we have a greater than symbol. So therefore, A is not correct. So I'm going to just write an X next to A. Now we have 2 and 54/100 is less than 2 and 45/100. So let's compare one digit at a time and see if we agree or disagree. So in my ones place, we have a 2 and a 2. My tenth is a 5 and then a 4. So 5 is greater than 4, showing me that this number is greater than this number. but my symbol's a less than sign. So this cannot be right. Now we look here. 1 and 42 hundredths is less than 1 and 24 hundredths. Do we agree or disagree? Let's see. We start in my ones place. We have a 1 and a 1. Then we move to my tenths. We have a 4 and a 2. So 4 is greater than 2, but I have a so this whole number is greater than this whole number, but there's a less than symbol. So this can't be right. So now I'm going to move to my next number. 7 and 9 hundredths is less than 7 and 90 hundredths. I'm going to take a digit by digit to check my work. Going from left to right, in my ones place is a 7 and a 7. My tenths is a 0 and then a 9. 0 is less than 9, therefore 7 and 9 hundredths is less than 7 and 90 hundredths, which that's exactly what this expression is stating. So D would be the correct answer choice here. Notice I took it step by step, going through each expression and each number sentence to confirm that they're true or false to help you determine the correct answer to the problem. Now we're going to try one more as well. We're going to follow the same procedure as last time, going through each of these. 4 and 97 hundredths is less than 4 and 79 hundredths. Now be very, very careful here that you're taking it digit by digit. Let's start with my ones place. We see a 4 and a 4. They're exactly the same. So I'm going to move to my tenths place. 9 tenths, 7 tenths. Well, 9 tenths is greater than 7 tenths. So 4 and 97 hundredths is greater than 4 and 79 hundredths. But here we have a less than sign. So that can't be right. Now 1 and 29 hundredths is equal to 1 and 92 hundredths. Are they the same numbers in the same order? No way. So that can't be right. And same here. 14 hundredths is equal to 41 hundredths. I said two completely different numbers. So they cannot be equal. So that's not correct. Now let's just confirm that this is correct. We have 2 and 19 hundredths is less than 2 and 91 hundredths. Again, start with my ones place. We see a 2 and a 2. Now I'm going to move to my tenths. We have 1 tenth and 9 tenths. 1 tenth is less than 9 tenths, so 2 and 19 hundredths is less than 2 and 91 hundredths. We do see that there's a less than symbol here, representing that this number sentence is correct. Now, as you're completing today's work, you can refer back to this video at any time. My biggest suggestion to all of you is to please read the directions clearly. Reading will help you be successful on today's activity. It is very important to take your time, check your work, and go over the directions.